Good morning, YouTube. It's day 2 of peak week. It's Tuesday. Woke up this morning, I lost 2 pounds, so I was 157 yesterday. This morning I was 155. And man, I'm having a lot on my mind. I feel like, bodybuilding is hard in general, but when it gets hard, I tend to have my mind in areas in my past where, when things get hard, like I've dealt with a lot of failures in my life, and it's those failures that really shaped who I am today and really just like help me handle, I guess, the pain, the pressure of what I'm going through on a daily life. And so I'm just gonna be sharing, be vulnerable with you guys and share with you some stories, and hopefully it relates to you and maybe it could help you and let you know that you're not alone. But one of the things I was just focusing on just now was just my upbringing as a kid. I feel like I was a pretty good kid. I came from a household of Christ-like living, and I in 5th grade, just to let you guys know, I'm really into illustration art. I've been drawing since age 3, and that's like where my passion is, and that's where even in posing coaching that I do full time, it it all transfers into the eye of how to pose better. And in 5th grade, I made friends with some kids, and they, it was, for some reason, I had this ambition to want to draw stuff and sell it. So I did it in elementary school, and then going into middle school, I was really obsessed with The Simpsons and also WWE. So what I would do, I would draw Simpson characters, WWE superstars, and draw them in a Simpson way. And one of my friends was aware of it, and he said, hey, let's make a little business here in school. So I would draw them, and then he would be my manager, and then another friend would be the person that kind of goes out and just tells people about it and market it just by word of mouth. And we made some decent amount of money. I remember one week we made $15, but we would sell every little, I would do cutouts of these little figures of Simpson wrestlers and sell them. And sometimes I would put it in packages where it's I put them in bags, and it was 2 characters, and would draw belts and weapons and everything. Just if you were into wrestling, there was a Deluxe Aggression figures. That's pretty much the style I was going for because I was so obsessed with it. But going on, I don't know what happened, but I feel I'm not sure if my friend was jealous of me or something, but he developed a habit of picking on me a lot. I was very frail, very weak, very timid, and I always wanted to just have good friends and not be in anybody's way. And there was this time where I was feeling pressured by him to, I don't know, he did some weird things. He picked on me and my other friend, and there were things that happened in the bathroom that just really shaped my trauma, I guess, as a kid. And in a sense, it was just getting really unhealthy. And it got into the point where we were all into wrestling, but you could tell that when we were playing wrestling, he was really putting a lot of force into it, and just actually kind of taking it too far and aggressive. And he started to do it regularly to me, where I was becoming numb and confused because I wanted to be friends, but also I felt very used and just I don't know. There were things I was keeping from my parents, and I wasn't proud of it, just because I feel they were the only friends I had, and there was nobody else. And so the picking on and me just coming home and feeling even more frail and feeling beaten by my friend mentally and physically, it just it really tore me apart, to the point where he started threatening me after class for some reason, all the time. And I remember there's this one time I felt a lot of pressure where this next I guess beatdown was going to be pretty intense. And so right after class, when we got out, he just wailed at me. And he was a big kid too. It's he probably had 45 to 60 pounds on me, and I was just this little kid. To give you a perspective, my freshman year of high school was only 95 pounds, so 5th grade Josh was, yeah. So reason why I bring that up is that was the first time where like I really needed to stop suffering in silence, and I brought it up to my parents. My parents were upset, obviously, and they called the principal. And people say like, no, what's that word? My mama didn't raise no B word, and but it was something very early on. I learned like I can't suffer in silence. Like this friend is like really hurting me, and then that's when we got pulled into the principal's office, and then they talked to us, and then we kind of settled that all out. And I remember a couple weeks we just didn't talk to each other, and then he called me, and I remember the first time I heard his voice, I heard him crying, and he was like very sincere, and that was the first time where I felt empathy with my friend, like truly. And I was just like, I had this thought come to mind, like, man, he is going through something really difficult. I don't know how his parents are like to him, but I feel for him. And that was the first time ever in my life where I forgave someone. And yet that was also the beginning of me kind of realizing like my first failure or first lesson that I learned was, I had to pick good friends and be aware of like red flags and make sure that I'm protecting myself and so forth. So yeah, that's like one of the first failures or lessons I learned, that when things get hard, like I look to stuff like that shaped me. And we're not friends anymore. We just parted ways in high school. We just said hi here and there, but don't suffer in silence is what I think of. So we're gonna hit this lift. It's back day. Sorry to talk your ear off, but just a few things I'm gonna be sharing of a few failures, a few life lessons. So let's get it. Reverse grip. Oh man, another thing that was really hard for me was football. So my dad is really into sports, and I feel like he really admired my other siblings for doing their sports and really killing it. Like in my high school, my siblings have like plaques and everything, and I was always the nerdy like kid that just wanted to draw, play video games, watch anime, and just like all the above. And again, very frail, skinny, not very strong. Like I was literally like Deku from My Hero Academia, and just weak. And my brother did football, another brother did volleyball, and my sister, she did water polo and swimming, and they were just like masters at their craft. And I never got into any sports. I mean, I did a couple years of soccer, but it was just like for rec and just being, I guess, fit, healthy. And I remember when I got into high school, I enrolled in football. Like I remember just like, I want my dad's approval, attention. Like I want to show him that I could like be sporty. And so I did football, and I was like excited. And my dad, he was like, are you sure? Are you sure? And I'm just like, yeah, like I want to do it. And it was the first time I got into weight training. I remember lifting 45 pounds was just like, felt like 245. And then, I never started at all. And I felt like a true failure. Like I swear, when being a 95-pound football player, like I was just, people would trailblaze through me and just like destroy me with how big they were. And I also didn't eat a lot too, so it was just like, if anything, I only played 2 games on special teams, and that's it. And I had no idea what I was doing. The plays made no sense to me. I look at the chart, circles and arrows and X's, is just like, it just didn't make any sense to me. The only comfort I found in my first year of high school was just like in the computer lab, playing video games on the Mac computers that we had, and just drawing, man. Such a big nerd. But felt like a true failure. Every time I was on the sidelines, and just like pretty much a water boy and not starting at all. But I took something from that. Like after the football season ended, and I remember hearing the coaches, because the coaches I've worked with my brother, who played with him as well. The coaches would say things to my brother too. They're like, man, dude, I thought he was gonna be like another Mata Ali'i. Like I thought he was gonna like be the best like you were. And then my brother was just like, yeah, well, that's my little brother. And just hearing those words, it's very discouraging. I was just like, man, like, why can't I be great? Because, man, I just felt so bad, horrible. And then that's when I spoke to the football coach and said, hey, if you want to get better at football, just join the wrestling team and start lifting. And so I joined the wrestling team, and for some reason, wrestling was the sport that I felt the most natural in. And it was very fitting because I feel like a lot of the misfits of the high school that didn't make it in their sports that they tried transitioned to wrestling, and they became very well. My first year, don't know how it happened, but like everything connected, and I was very aware of my body, and I was able to make the varsity spot. So that was super cool. It was kind of hard for me because I'm very empathetic. So the couple people I had to wrestle to get the spot, like they were there for probably like a year, and I just came in and just like took their spot after sparring and doing matches. It was like best 2 out of 3, and I took it. So freshman year of varsity, pretty much the whole 4 years I was varsity, and it definitely, I felt like that was like the beginning of my dad, where I felt like there was true interest in my life. He was interested in general, but that's where we bonded a lot. He came to my matches regularly, and it was just like a very sweet moment that really sparked our relationship. I feel like I wasn't ready to accept my dad as a whole, just because, I mean, there were other things I was working through, and but by age 18, like, we solidified a relationship that we were beginning, and it really makes me appreciate who the man he is and what he's done for our lives, and just setting a good example. So yeah, learned from that failure from a different sport and applied it, and you know, we took data, and now we lift and apply those failures to now. Good set. The pump is lacking today. Oh. Oh man, another failure in life that I won't get too much detail in it, but I was in a 5-year relationship through high school and through a little bit after, until I was age 20, and then that didn't work out. And getting back into the dating field, I was so new to me just because I was so used to one relationship. The 5-year relationship was my 3rd relationship, serious one I've been in, and I swear the first date was very like new. It was the girl was really nice. She was really generous for me to take her out. I remember we went to like a pho restaurant, and then after that I took her to the movies to go watch It. And I definitely would recommend going to the movies for the first date. I mean, that's why I took her out in the restaurant first, so I could get to know her a little bit more. I met her like at a event, and yeah, I just took her out, and then after that, like, I remember giving her a hug goodbye was like really awkward, and just like, I remember the whole time in the movie theater, it was just like, I wasn't sure if I should hold her hand or put my arm over her, and it was just awkward, man, and like the chairs were very stiff and awkward and just like, Anyways, I remember I asked her out again, and then she just gave me this was in college, and she gave me she's like, oh, I have a lot of homework and I have other things going on. So I remember I took that moment, and it was like really hard for me to take someone out after being in a 5-year relationship. And I definitely took that as a failure, just because I really wanted my first like date back into dating again to be really good. But it was the best I was able to do. And instead of like kind of shaming the event and be like, man, like this is why I shouldn't date, something told me that I needed to keep going and I need to really find what I was looking for in a partner. And I've challenged myself to go on like 2 to 3 dates a week just to really discover and to like sift through like what I feel like is a high value woman, and in the same degree discover what a high value man looks like. And so when I was in college, I took that and I applied and my degree became a marriage and family therapy. And so I just my 5-year relationship and just relationships in general weren't the greatest for me. And I had to go through therapy and really like heal a lot of things, just because being a young kid, like I went through some things where just like I had some like online addictions, and on top of that I had I experienced assault very early with a family member, and obviously I shared with you that one kid, and it really like messed up my way of communication, and that was something I knew I had to get over and really pursue to be able to be in a really happy, healthy relationship. And so yeah, I just dated everyone and anyone, and at least girls. And I went from like dating apps to even social events, asking people out and in person, in class. And one thing I really appreciate about marriage and family studies is most of the classes were girls, and so I got a lot of insights of like what they were looking for in relationships, what they wish men did. And I could have developed like this idea of just like, man, women think of this from the guys. And looking back, it's just like when I would talk to guy friends or anything, it's just like at least the ones I was around, they weren't putting much effort in their relationships. There were like some rare ones, and it was like I remember thinking to myself like, what if I actually put effort in like specific areas? Like I actually very early I did have a habit of like talking about myself more through dates, but the more I dated, I realized the more I put the spotlight on her and ask her questions and ask her like really like thoughtful quality questions to really know who the person is. That's when I found success in really discovering myself and discovering people in general, and building like my social skills, because social skills are king, man. And I went on probably 60 plus dates with women, and to be honest, like all the women I've like dated were all high value women in their case, and it was up to me to choose like who would work best for me. And eventually I came to find my wife, and it was a struggle because I did fail, you could say, in a few relationships, because after the 5-year relationship, I think I got into 1, 2, 3 more or 4, and like they were awesome people, man. Awesome people. It's just like things never worked out, whether like there was lack of communication on their part, lack of communication on my part, or honestly there were times where I just didn't know what I wanted just yet, and I couldn't put my finger on it, like, dude, what is it? And sometimes I had to like kind of like really reset, and there were things I still needed to work on. I was just like, you know what, I can't move on with this relationship if it's not working out for me mentally, spiritually, physically, and all the above. So really took those experiences to account, and it really enhanced my time for when I met my wife, and it made it a lot more easier in the process. Like we got married relatively quick. I think we dated for 8 to 10 months, and then we got married. But to be fair, like my wife and I, we dated like 60 plus people, and we have like really intense backgrounds and understanding people in general. And so by the time we met each other, we were like ready for each other, and it just all made sense and so forth. So just a few thoughts there. Anyways, let's get this next workout. Don't worry, guys. You'll see me with the pump cover off soon. It's just sometimes when you wear clothes, you just feel a little better.
Oh man, one thing that was hard in life too was after I got married, that's when the C word happened and everything was closing down. And I was doing online school, and honestly I just couldn't retain and have the motivation to do school online. Like online schooling was just so hard for me. I'm definitely more of I need to be in class, and so I was struggling I was doing marriage and family studies, but I switched to arts just because my art heart was calling me to get into the art form. But you know, I've been so experienced with art and everything, like I have a great foundation, so I had to start with square one of things I already knew. So it's like the school system, it just didn't work out for me because, you know, I was like at level 8 and I wanted to be in level 8 classes, but they were starting me at level 1 and switching my degree, like I was already 3 years in, and so school just didn't make sense. I had to drop out. But even dropping out and then being a newly wedded person, I struggle with it, man, just because coming from a family where they really wanted me to graduate, like it really hurt me. Like my family really wanted me to graduate from college, and I was feeling the pressure, and knowing that I had to like drop out and kind of promise them like, oh, I'm still in school, was just like, it was really hard. And I felt like a failure just because me dropping a degree and schooling just made me feel like I was dropping a career in general. So I felt like a failure in that sense. And it's like, I almost felt like because of doing that, I failed as a husband and a provider to reaching the goal of having a career and taking care of my wife and everything. So that was really hard for me. And at the time I was working for In-N-Out Burger, and just, I really liked the job, it was fun. And, but I had to leave just because my hands, for some reason, like my wrists, I'm not sure if it was carpal tunnel or arthritis. My family, it runs in the family, but it was just like acting up, man, where I just couldn't even like work properly. So it was very difficult. So, and for me wanting to be an artist long term, it's just like I was scared that I was gonna mess up my hands and wrists, and I wasn't able to pursue that because someday I would love to write my own comic book or manga and make that a thing. But I mean, yeah, anything artistic is what I'm going for, which makes sense. Now I'm a posing coach, so it all works out, and I'm doing that full time. Love you guys. And YouTube, it's also an art form. It all works out. Anyways, but yeah, felt like a failure having to leave In-N-Out Burger, and we were just so tight financially because I also hired a coach just because I feel like I needed that to really enhance the quality of my life, just because I needed some guidance, and not only fitness but mentally. And I just didn't like the fact that, I mean, my wife, she graduated from college and then she was making income from her business, and she was the breadwinner. And for her being the breadwinner, like I was supportive of it, but I could tell like there were times where she wanted to take a break, and like I felt like responsible, like I want to take care of her, right? So that's, man, I was in my head, the man, my pride, my ego, I was humbled, man. And I got so humbled to the point where I had a friend reach out, and they were doing sales, and so they got me when I was very like with my pants down. I'm just like, hey, let's do it. They promised me I would make a good amount of money, and so I did door-to-door sales. So that's the beginning of that. And the intentions were to make money, but also to like, I just really wanted to take care of my wife. And the average sales that a rookie would make is like 35 to 40 sales, but there are people on my team, they're like making 80 to 100 for a summer, and they were making money, man. So comparing myself with other guys and guys that were younger than me, because I started pretty late. I think I started selling at age 24, 25, 26. I forgot. Anyways, so having to deal with that and seeing them kill it and making good income for their wives, and whatever they were doing with their businesses, just like really hurt me in the ego even more, because I was an average seller, guys. Like one thing that was really hard for me in sales was just like, I feel like I was too, like, I wanted to make the cheapest option for people, where there are people on my sales team that will make the option a lot more expensive so they could bring more money into their pocket. But for me, it was just like, if I had the option to give something cheaper, then I will always do that. And the hours are crazy, man. They would drop me off in the neighborhood, and I would just walk for 8 hours, knock on doors. And it was a struggle. And on top of that, I was on prep when I was doing that too. So it was, man, really hard. So having to do that for 2 summers and making the bare minimum of making, I think I made like around like 3K a month. It was like good money, but for the worth of the work I did and like the crying, the reminder that my wife is still working, it was just really painful for me. Like it was really hard, really hard. So the sales team, like I love my manager and everything. My manager was the only one that like was there for me, like my main manager. He was the one that was in charge of all this. And yeah, it was a grind. And having to leave that, I felt like a failure too, just because I felt like I was letting my manager down, and I felt bad because I swear some of the guys would preach like, if you're not living this life, then you're a loser. I'm just like, oh my gosh, well, I'm living this life, so I guess I'm a loser now. So I was just like, just all totally setting myself up for failure mentally, right? So after that, like after doing that for a few years, I traveled a little bit doing sales, and then I moved to Arizona because Arizona was a place where I felt like we felt the most comfortable, more at home. It's where my wife wanted to be, and it's honestly where I want to be for a long time. Like I really love the culture, the food, the people, a lot of ambitious people here. And Team Tua, Take on Common Action, the brand is where we're located here. So yeah, corporation is here. Anyways, so I moved here, and then I picked up a restaurant job at an Italian restaurant. And that's when the little voice in my head said, like, okay, Josh, you've been putting this off for a few years. It's time for you to start. I've always been into fitness. I got into bodybuilding because of posing, and something in my little head said, you need to start posting about bodybuilding, posing, and the art of it. But I put it off for so long because I was so distracted by all these other things that I was trying to pursue, trying to work out just to get money quickly and to take care of my wife. And through it all, you know, I look back and the times where I was lonely and feeling depressed and sad and being on the curb, knocking doors, to all my childhood trauma and everything. And like, I'm grateful for all those times I went through. They were really difficult for me, for my arc, my story. And yeah, man, it just like really shaped me who I am today. And I really healed and broke down and really just stopped comparing myself to everything and everybody and just locked in on just posing. And ever since I've been locked into posing, and it's been almost a year, I've been working as a posing coach, and it has changed my life, and it has really opened opportunities to help you guys build value and better your experience and so on. So talking a lot right now. Let's move on to dumbbell or cable flies. I think that's what I'm doing next. All right, guys, here's an update of how we're looking like. So I just finished a gallon of water, and definitely feeling flat, but this is how we're looking. Next is dumbbells. And we're back. Honestly, those last few sets, I was feeling pooped. Your boy was getting gassed. Like, I was just like, it just hit me then and there. I'm just like, you know what? We went all out on our cardio, on this workout. The pump felt non-existent, but it came back. Like, yeah, we got it done, guys. So, yeah, oh yeah. Quoting SpongeBob. Anyways, great lift, great week so far, day number 2. And yeah, I just wanted to share with you all those experiences just so you guys get to know me a little bit more. And I remember earlier this year, like with all the value and the content I've been posting about posing, is just like, you know what, I figured like, you know what, I'm gonna give you guys all the sauce. And a lot of feedback I got was just like, honestly, a lot of people were talking trash about how I pose, the style isn't good, or like what are my qualifications and everything. And I feel like before I used to care stuff about that, but now that you know like a little bit of my background and like where I come from, it's just like I've held myself back so much because of like past experiences. Like I just gotta let it go, man. So if you guys ever like have the small tendency to pursue something that you feel like you really need to do, like listen to that little voice and go for it, because you never know what might happen. The windows of opportunity will come forth the more you work and fail. I hear a lot of successful people like in your 20s, you gotta fail as much as possible and try everything and anything, and then you'll find like your passion and everything. I definitely have through posing. So yeah, guys, so that's me. As you can see, I'm just an average Joe who loves to lift and loves to pose and does posing full time. And we're gonna keep on doing this. I'm gonna be doing these videos even after show day. I'm gonna keep on posting my whole journey of my off season and making sure that we're having a healthy growth season. We're not binging at all or having crazy foods. But again, if you guys made it this long, tune in. The next arc is gonna be freaking sick. I'm gonna be collabing with a good friend of mine, and we're gonna be doing something where we're gonna be. So let me just share this. So my favorite show of all time is Breaking Bad, and my friend, he is like him and I hang out all the time, and he's like, we want to make a duo where I'm pretty much like Jesse and he's Heisenberg or Walt from Breaking Bad if you watched it. And so we're gonna make a series that has to do with fitness/food, and just kind of like showing you guys that you could have a good, healthy relationship with food while pursuing your muscle growth goals and just making sure you're not going crazy. Like, because I feel like a lot of people in the world, they are so tied and married and just like they can't control themselves, and a lot of people just want to eat food like crazy. And so I just want to bring like some new light to it and kind of show you guys how I could track my macros and hit my protein goal, my fat goal, and also my carb goal while going out to eat in different places. And we're gonna be touring around all over Arizona and even like outside of state, and it's gonna be a good time, man. I'm really excited to show you guys that series, and yeah, it's gonna be great. But first, we gotta get through this first. We're gonna be doing our show this weekend, and then Summer Shredding Classic, the one that's hosted by Christian Guzman, the owner of Alpha Land and Alpha Elite. That's gonna be 2 weeks after. So, love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And seriously, like I think we're 15 subscribers away from 1,000 subscribers. So you guys are awesome. Like, you guys are the best. When I see you guys subscribing, it's like, it's not only helping me, but it's helping like my wife and I. Like, we are so like genuinely grateful and excited for you guys watching our journey and our life. And we're just like, we just want to show you guys like we could be decently good people and be ourselves and just like live life, and yeah, live life to the fullest and not be fake. I don't know. But anyways, wish you guys a good day. Hopefully this video wasn't as boring, or like you took something from it. And yeah, like let's kill the day. Let's be uncommon, fear mediocrity, believe in the inner greatness, and go destroy your goals. See ya.